conquering fear, right? In general.
Right.
Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. What would your advice be to someone who wants to like start a business or a major project, but they're held back by fear?
So this is, again, it's interesting for me because public speaking is not something that induces fear in me. It never has. But I know that it does make people scared. And I think that overcoming any fear in my mind is inoculation. The introduction of a pathogen or antigen into a living organism to stimulate the production of antibodies. So you're giving yourself a little bit, and you give yourself a little bit, and that's what you do. You take the small doses so it prepares you for the bigger doses. One of my daughters, my middle daughter, she was really wanting to be in the school play, right? And other plays around town. Well, that's cool, but she was horrified to go out in front of an audience. Horrified. And so I looked up and I said, okay, well, how do you stop your kids from getting stage fright? And, I read about people, what they did, and what I did was I'd say to her, okay, sing a song for me. And it's not that big of a deal because I'm her dad. And so she'd sing a song for me. And even then she'd be a little bit embarrassed, but she'd sing a song for me. And then, a couple days later, my wife, hey, sing that song for both of us. And then it was, my wife's got a friend over. Hey, sing that song for the three of us. Because now you get a mystery person, an unknown in the room. Okay, so she's overcoming that fear. And each time she's getting a little bit more and more confident. Because we took her to a couple auditions where it was her turn. She didn't go. She broke down just crying, just couldn't handle it. And then it was a few of my wife's friends were over. Then it was some of my friends were over. So now you got, guys and girls. And each time she got more and more confident. And eventually, she just didn't care anymore. And she was totally confident, and she got the lead role in the school play. She legitimately got the lead role in the school play. So she was able to overcome that fear. And in the SEAL teams, we do the same kind of thing. Where you're going to get inoculated against stress. As much as they can stress you out in the SEAL teams, they're going to stress you out. There's going to be machine gun fire. You're going to be used to that. There's going to be explosions going off. You're going to be used to that. We used to do live fire machine gun drills and IAD drills, immediate action drills. We were maneuvering around. We used to do that without ear protection sometimes. So you get used to this crazy banging. We don't do that anymore because it's not smart. But you do that to inoculate. It's like what you were talking about earlier. When that gun goes off, you should be completely comfortable with it. Buddy of mine who actually took my job. I was a task unit commander, and he actually took my job as task unit commander. And a flashbang is a grenade that you throw into a room before you go into the room, and it makes a loud explosion and smoke, and then it allows you to enter in on the room when the people that are inside are now startled. So you have an advantage. Well, occasionally, you have to open the door to throw the crash in there, and occasionally someone will open the door and someone will run in. They didn't coordinate it well, and so you open the door, guy runs in, and then someone throws the crash in, so now you're crashing yourself. It's not that big of a deal. You got to get used to it. But what happened with one of his new guys, that happened. So the door went open, the guy went in, and while the guy's running in, somebody throws a crash in there. The guy sees the crash and he runs back out of the room, which is not what you're supposed to do. So this guy was the task unit commander. He goes, hey, come with me down here. So they walked down, and he brought him into a closet in the kill house. And just sat in there and said, yeah, how's it going? And they just sat there in the dark and dropped like 8 crashes at their feet and just blasted the guy. Because you realize you just got to get inoculated. You just got to overcome it. So that's kind of, I guess my theory here would be, if you're afraid of fighting and altercations, go train jiu-jitsu. If you're afraid of heights, work on some rock climbing. If you're afraid of the water, it's time to swim. It's time to surf. It's time to get out there. If you're afraid of pull-ups, do pull-ups. If you're in squats, do squats. If you're afraid of public speaking, go speak in public. Go speak in public. If you're afraid to start a business, start a business. Make it small. And on all these, what you have to do is you have to mitigate the risk and you have to ease yourself into it, but you got to go for it. And eventually, you will overcome that fear. But the hard part is, you got to take that first step. Got to take that first step to begin to inoculate yourself against the fear of the thing that's in your mind. That's in your mind. Because that fear generally is in your mind. You know, when you get up on stage to do a public speaking, people are not going to throw tomatoes at you and say, "Oh my, you're an idiot. Get off the stage." No, they're going to sit there. You know? So there's nothing to fear. It's in your head.